Welcome back everyone. Zara here again for another episode of Style Drops. Because Valentine's Day is within days, this is the perfect time to once again solidify Style Drops' mission here. So in this episode, Gail wants to share her POV on two of her favorite subjects, interior styling and romantic love, and how she feels they both have a very important and similar through line. No matter how many decor how-to videos you watch here on YouTube, there really are very simple reasons why a room comes alive. Those reasons are based on the overall vibe or story, the style, and the subject of this video. Needed tension. Gail's main theme here on Style Drops is to constantly instill the importance of finding your own voice within your interior spaces, to avoid the pitfalls of strategizing and overthinking the process. Instead, one should develop the style and story of a space, along with adding some of that much-needed tension. Instead of just thinking that this matches that, or these items are all the same color, so they should work just fine. Style Drop Sessions' main goal here is about sharing insight on maintaining our own design agency and the need for finding a visual presence within a space. SDS wants to share the needed insight to help you gain the confidence and tools to design courageously, not just place furniture in the assigned positions. And one of those much-needed elements within our spaces and within romantic love is a little tension. That tension in both design and personal relationships is all about the balancing of opposites. Gail has observed so many different interactions within her design career, that no matter how much she has seen, the most difficult will always be watching people prefer the safe options, over allowing the designer to direct them into stepping out of the box. Or another even more difficult observation is helping couples with their design projects, and one partner states how they want it, without care or consideration of what the other thinks. So many create their spaces in safe mode, without any courage to try to apply any needed tension to their spaces. Those rooms then become the emotional equivalent of oatmeal, nutritious, reliable, utterly devoid of anything you'd call exciting. Without opposing elements, which is what makes something more intriguing, there is nothing to hold our attention, nothing to make us lean in. Tension is what creates visual energy in a room, and that is achieved by the following aspects. First, by adding elements that are raw plus refined, such as reclaimed wood table with crystal chandelier, or concrete floors with a velvet sofa, or industrial metal with soft textiles. The tension comes in play with the rough meets precious. A second way to introduce tension is by interplaying old plus new, creating a vibe of where history meets now, with the juxtaposition of elements, such as an antique Persian rug under modern marble slab coffee table, Victorian architecture with minimalist furniture, your grandmother's china in sleek contemporary cabinet. A third way of introducing tension within a space is balancing masculine and feminine pieces within the space, such hard and soft elements. Leather with lace, heavy oak with delicate porcelain, angular architecture with curved furnishings. A fourth way to that needed tension in a room is by balancing where rest meets abundance. The negative space beside dense shelving. Bare walls next to gallery walls. Minimalist zones and maximalist zones in same space. Tension creates movement. Your gaze travels between contrasts. Opposing forces in balance equals dynamic equilibrium, alive, not static. The unexpected pairing makes you look closer, engage more deeply. Without tension, a space is nice, but does not captivate. It's like decorating on autopilot, creating a room that is technically correct, but lifeless. Our eyes and our hearts don't register the constant hum of sameness. They catch the edge where light meets shadow, where rough meets smooth, where expectation meets the thing that makes you go, wait, what is happening here? This is interesting. It's the secret ingredient that keeps us engaged with the world. And whether we're arranging furniture or arranging our hearts, the principle holds. Tension is not the enemy of harmony. It is harmony's unfortunate prerequisite. Consider the most memorable rooms you've ever entered. Chances are, they weren't uniformly anything. They weren't all dark or all light, all minimal or all maximal, all hard surfaces or all soft textures. The rooms that stopped you at the doorway, that make you want to explore rather than immediately locate the exits, that somehow feels both settled and alive, are rooms built on productive opposition. Modern lines in a historic shell, a riot of pattern held in check by expanses of negative space. The interplay of these opposites creates visual voltage, an energetic charge that keeps the eye moving, discovering, and returning. This isn't about chaos or confusion, though plenty of people have attempted that, and called it eclectic. It's about creating points of interest through strategic contrast. The tension between elements generates energy. It creates a kind of visual conversation. One of Gail's favorite ways to add tension to a space is with mixing, high-low factor. It's all about balancing proportions, the dance between positive and negative space. A room needs what seems like contradiction, intimacy and grandeur, warmth and coolness, the expected and the surprising. Just like a great relationship. The best spaces hold these tensions without resolving them, creating an atmosphere that feels simultaneously grounded and dynamic, which is another way of saying, you can't quite figure out why it works, but it does. Space with well-crafted tension invites lingering. It reveals itself slowly, like a good mystery movie, or a person who doesn't lead with their entire biography in the first 5 minutes. There's always something new to discover, some relationship between elements. The space has mystery because it hasn't shown you everything, much like intrigue that another, because the conversation between you both leaves them wanting more. Now translate this principle to love, and suddenly we're talking about something most people spend their whole lives trying to understand, while simultaneously avoiding any real examination of how to keep attraction alive, past the point where you've seen each other with the flu and just plain lifing issues. Great love, the kind that sustains over decades rather than collapsing spectacularly after 18 months, requires the same fundamental architecture as a great room. It needs tension. Not the tension of constant conflict or manufactured drama. We're not talking about the couples who think fighting in public is a personality trait. We're talking about the productive tension that comes from two distinct entities, maintaining their distinctness, while choosing to occupy the same space. It's the juxtaposition of two complete individuals, each with their own textures and shadows and mysteries, and deeply irritating habits they refuse to change, creating something more interesting than either could alone. The early stages of love are electric, precisely because tension is built in. You don't know everything yet, you haven't heard all their stories 3 times, there are surprises. The other person has depths you haven't charted, preferences that catch you off guard. Every revelation is a form of juxtaposition. The person you thought they were placed against the person they're revealing themselves to be. This generates a magnetic pull of wanting to know more, which unfortunately has a shelf life, if not properly maintained. When you stop creating tension, and sand down your differences instead of celebrating them, convinced that compatibility means basically you need to be the same person but with different bodies, they become matching furniture in a monochromatic room. Pleasant, comfortable, utterly forgettable. The kind of couple other people describe as nice, in the tone usually reserved for discussing oatmeal. The couples who stay fascinated with each other remain themselves, distinct, growing, occasionally surprising in ways that aren't just, I bought the wrong milk again. You have to preserve the spaces between the notes. As you build intimacy, you have to allow for the tension between who you each are as individuals and who you are together, which is significantly harder than just merging into one amorphous blob of shared opinions and finish each other's sentences predictability. This looks like maintaining separate interests that you bring back to the relationship like treasures instead of like evidence you're drifting apart. It looks like not knowing everything about your partner's inner world because they continue to have one, which should be the baseline rather than an achievement. When reality matches prediction perfectly, our attention drifts. We're bored. We go into autopilot mode. We've mentally left the building. This is why novelty captures us. Why travel energizes us, even though it's mostly just standing in different lines. This is why we remember the moments when life zagged instead of zigged. And it's why both spaces and relationships need elements that resist complete predictability. The juxtaposition or tension forces attention. The same applies to love. When everything becomes routine, when you can predict every response with the accuracy of someone who's been running the same experiment for a decade, when there are no surprises left except attention fades. Not because love has failed. When is common. You've become each other's beige wall, and while beige is highly practical and goes with everything, nobody writes poetry about it. This is why mystery matters. Not secrets, not withheld information, not game playing or the kind of mysterious behavior that's really just poor communication skills dressed up as intrigue, but genuine unknowability. The recognition that another person is vast, that you can spend a lifetime with someone and still discover new facets, still be surprised, still encounter aspects of them that don't quite fit your existing concept. What makes this challenging, in both design and love, is that it requires holding opposites without rushing to resolve them, which goes against every conflict avoidance instinct most of us have developed through years of awkward family dinners. It requires comfort with a certain amount of productive dissonance. We're taught to eliminate contradictions, to smooth out rough edges, to create seamless coherence. But seamless coherence, in a room or a relationship, often means sameness. and sameness means invisibility. And invisibility means you've essentially paid money to create something nobody notices, which is either very zen or very depressing depending on your perspective. It's all about the art of balance, which is infuriating advice but unfortunately accurate. Too much chaos in the space, or the relationship, falls apart into something that requires professional intervention. Too much harmony, and it disappears into the background like elevator music or a beige Toyota Camry. The sweet spot is that dynamic equilibrium where opposing forces create energy without creating dysfunction, where you can feel the tension but it's not actively stressing you out, where things feel alive without feeling like they might explode at any moment. A great room teaches us that we can have both minimalism and abundance, both restraint and expression, both calm and excitement. Which sounds impossible until you see it done well, and then you mostly just resent whoever designed it for making it look easy. A great love teaches us that we can have both deep knowing and ongoing mystery, both security and surprise, both commitment and freedom, both the comfort of predictability and the thrill of the unexpected. The tension isn't the problem, the tension is the point. It's what keeps us looking, keeps us engaged, keeps us coming back to discover what we might have missed. It's what transforms a space from merely functional to genuinely captivating. It's what transforms love from merely comfortable to genuinely alive. From we coexist successfully, to, I'm still interested in what you're going to say next. Without it we have safety without electricity, comfort without passion, rooms we inhabit without really seeing, relationships we maintain without really feeling. With it, we have spaces that continue to reveal themselves, love that continues to unfold, attention that doesn't wander because there's always something worth noticing, or at least something more interesting than your phone. The need for tension is to create spaces and relationships that honor our need for both stillness and movement, both the known and the yet to be discovered. To recognize that the goal isn't to eliminate opposition, but to arrange it in ways that generate energy, rather than entropy. To accept that the alternative to productive tension isn't peace, it's boredom dressed up as contentment. Until next time, my stylistas, build beautiful spaces in love by adding a touch of tension. Please like, share, hype, and leave comment. Ciao.